The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
I did hear that they were coming through necessary media.
Because it's necessary. Necessary media. Media, because it's necessary.
All right, so do we still, all right, is this when we vote to put the show on? No, what we voted on before was to, yeah, that was for to play the show, but is this to start the show? Jake? All right, I'm confused. All right, I thought we voted already to start the show, but I thought we were going to vote to start the show, no? All right, I don't know now. I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to assume we go with it. I thought I voted to start the show, but I want to vote to start the show. Now, if you're confused, if you're as confused as I am, then you probably watched the actual city council meeting last week when we actually apparently voted on the budget. Now, I didn't have a show last week, and I'm not going to hammer all day on this topic because I missed the week. I had things going on, which I'm going to get into a little later, some of that. But last week at the city council meeting, they voted for the budget, and I was trying to follow along with this. All right, I was doing my part. Thought I was going to have the show that week, but something happened before earlier in the day. So I was preparing myself. So in preparing myself, I'm watching this council meeting where people voted. There was a budget put forth, and there was a bunch of build-up to this, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, we thought we were going to have the purge, okay? We thought July 1st in Fall River was going to initiate an official government shutdown, purge, same timing with the movie. I thought this was one of those deals of trying to bring Hollywood to Fall River, okay, and boost tourism. I thought we were going to have like an official purge marketing plan going on with no government, all right, because they didn't know if they were going to pass the budget. Well, after passing the budget, I don't think some of them knew they passed the budget. There was a lot of confusion going on. So again, I mean, technically we passed the budget, but it seemed like there was a lot of confusion over that. So again, that was last week's deal. So I mean, I was just making sure we voted to start the show. Okay. All right, well, if we voted to start the show, then yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am back again, your host and friend, Michael DeOliveira, ushering in the necessary era every Wednesday here live on Comcast Channel 95. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe right here. I'll put the icon right here to subscribe. Now, I know if you are watching this at home, and you might have watched this a little bit on YouTube, get that right. If you watch this at home now and you've watched it before on YouTube and you're saying to yourself, Mike, what's going on? Where are all these YouTube updates? Where's all these special editions? Because they are all special editions. Well, here's the problem. Again, I have some issues going on. I'm going to explain a little bit, but I got backlogged so bad that there's like 4 episodes down, maybe even 5 now. I'm recruiting some help, so we're going to try to play catch up. I will get those out as soon as possible, and hopefully, I'm going to just say hopefully, I'm not going to lie here and say for sure, but hopefully I should be caught up by either this weekend or next weekend the latest, okay? I'll have everything caught up, and if it's next weekend, it'll be by next week's show included, which also, just so everybody watching knows, you can have a heads up, I don't believe it's this coming week, like the next show, but the next show after that, I believe I'll follow up on the Facebook page, www.facebook.com/thenecessarymedia. I believe we have City Councilor Cliff Ponte on, scheduled to be on the show that Wednesday. It was a reschedule of a previous week. And I would have loved to have had him on this week just so we could actually go over this confusion. But again, I digress. I don't want to get in too much into that. It's beating a dead horse, and thing's dead already. Leave it alone. So I do want to get into some things. Now, off the bat, again, this was 4th of July, so obviously, and I do want to touch on the 4th of July aspect, the fireworks specifically. We'll get into that later. But something that I noticed through social media, I didn't have anybody personally reach out to me, but I seen a couple posts about this on social media. And I'm assuming there's got to be a lot of you out there watching this who are personally offended by this. I was actually offended by this, but I don't even know if offended is the right word. It's like I'm disgusted, but at the same time, it's not like I wasn't shocked. If I have this correctly, and anybody who wants to call in, by the way, to chime in on this, the budget, anything to do with 4th of July, how was your 4th of July? You want to chime in on anything going on currently in the city, in the country, what's going on? Feel free to call in. The number's right here, 508-730-3222. Call in, we'll get your call on, we'll get you on the air, we'll discuss. But what I wanted to get into, like I said, I feel like there's a lot of, what I've heard twice to have happened, and this is just disgusting again, is there was 2 times that the Veteran Memorial was damaged. The Fall River Veteran Memorial was damaged where I believe if you want to call it, like the glass that was holding this in, what I'm about to say, was both, the scene was vandalized and then robbed. So we had in the recent version, I believe a Purple Heart that was locked away, for lack of a better way to say it, again, or encased, all right? It was encased in like this protective shrine type situation, something to look at, a monument. It was part of it. So that was desecrated and then vandalized, and then, like I said, I believe they had stolen the Purple Heart, and there was a vial of sand from, it might have been Okinawa. If I'm butchering this, I apologize, because to me, I understand to some the specifics are important, but to me what's important is the sentimental value of it, or just the overall, the consciousness about this. You had people, I mean, you're always gonna have vandals, okay? You're always gonna have thugs, you're always gonna have people who just have energy and they want attention, so they put it to the fastest way to get attention possible, which is usually a bad result. Like it's gonna equal something bad for everyone else, but it yields fast attention results, attention-seeking behavior results. So they do stuff like this, but to take it to this level, I mean, it's 4th of July, right? We were coming onto this time no matter what. So for someone to go to that level, you know, I mean, you had to have thought at some point what you were doing in there. Now, I don't even, to tell you the truth, I don't even know how much, if there's any worth to it, because, you know, how are you really going to sell that? It's not something, you know, we have a couple people who've been known to buy medals, and that's fine, but I believe you can wear those medals, you know, that you bought, they're decorative or whatever. You can, so technically you can go to the store, buy them and wear them. I don't think you can really, you know, rock a Purple Heart when someone asks to see it or anything about it. You know, you're gonna need a good backstory to that thing. You're gonna need I'm assuming there's some kind of identification on it and whatnot. I don't see the reasoning to this. I feel it's gross. I hope, you know, things like specifically that severe, and to me, again, just the psychology of it, when I say severe, I really hope stuff like that takes a downward turn. Let's lessen it, because that's a bad issue for people that, like I said, you're not just vandalizing. Now, there's people who have like families invested in stuff like this, so I can really see the problem that's gonna cause. So I wanted to get that out there. Again, if anybody has any opinion on that, feel free to chime in. If there's anybody with information out there about that, definitely get it out there, because that's another thing. When these people do stuff like this for attention-seeking behavior, they're still seeking attention probably. So they're out there doing something with it. You might see that thing on eBay, Craigslist, Facebook, whatever. You might see that thing floating around. So let the right people know so they can try to get on this. Now the fireworks themselves, the 4th of July, okay, this big celebration. I want to get back into that a little later, because I'm dancing on whether I want to use that for something. So I'm going to move on real quick on that. But something else that I wanted to touch on, since we're going to talk about, you know, America, USA. Let's get into this now famous USA Today article, okay? And if you don't know, you're going to learn today. But I'm pretty sure you've heard in some way, shape, or form, you've heard about this, that there's a USA Today article that was going around about basically the worst cities in America, all right? And Fall River came up 5th, all right? 5th on the worst cities in America. Now, I'm gonna get into some opinions out there, and I'm gonna give you mine. The opinions out there, you know, you have the people who right away, and I mean, we know who these people are, and some of them I might judge negatively. Some of them I understand why they're doing it. You have the people who, no matter what, their job, or at least how they see their job in life, what they think they've been put on this earth for, is to, no matter what, paint Fall River in this like positive light. No matter what, it doesn't matter. It's, you know, just constantly favor, point out the highlights, talk about the good, just forget everything else. You know, put as much icing on that cake as possible, sprinkles, all that stuff. Get it nice and pretty. These same people, you know, they constantly, that's the words they use, that's the phrasing they choose, is to basically try to make Fall River more marketable. Now, again, I just told you that opinion I'm going to split into two categories. You have the people who, that's just, you know, it's in their nature, so it's just a part of their DNA, that's how they work. But then there's other people, okay, you guys got to pay attention. There's other people in that same, who are saying the same things, who just are doing it because it's a psychological thing. The more you smile at people, here's a new one. Look, folks, see? When you do that, you know what happens when you smile? It makes other people want to smile. And when you laugh, yawning is contagious, right? Most people out there know that. Yawning is contagious, right? In a little bit, I started it. And it's going to make you yawn, just the thought. But so is smiling, so is laughing, okay? So the more you go like this for people, hey, and no matter what you say, you do that, the more they respond positively to you. So a lot of it is just political, I love this word, folks. If you don't know, now you know, schtick. A lot of it's political schtick. It's what they teach you. Again, I've mentioned before, if I have it here, I'd have my doctorate in political science or something, whatever. This is what they're going to teach you when it comes to everything from sales to politics to psychology in general. In other words, these are going to be ways to get people on your side, make you connect with people. People like to feel good, okay? We like to feel good. So when you say things in such a way, they're gonna like that message more. I think some people are getting that sugary taste, that this is too sweet. People are getting sick of that taste. I think more people, I should say, not everybody, more people are getting sick of that taste. So some people are cutting through all that sugar-coated nonsense, and they want the hard reality. I think that crowd's growing. But for now, it works. So they want to market everything, you know, as amazing and great as possible. So those people now, to get me back on track here, that USA Today article, you had a lot of people who, when they read this, right away it was, oh my God, stop the presses. Stop the presses. What we need to do is counter that story with a better story, with more smiles, more laughs, more glitter, more special colors and markers, and, you know, get the whole Crayola 64 box and put as much spin on that as possible, okay? So right away, their first instinct was, well, we need to get a better story out there, and we need to do it now, okay? I get it. I understand it, all right? They're trying to fight the marketability of the whole thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I believe I have a caller. I'm going to see if I can take the caller. Hey, caller, you there? Caller?
Hello.
Hey, hello, I can hear you.
You can hear me.
I can. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Pretty good. Hey, I heard you had an incident coming in today.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't want to take any chances with it, so
No,
I didn't bother coming back.
Hey, that's all right. Speedy recovery there.
Yeah. Hey, let's take a couple of these things in order of preference here.
Shoot.
You've already said it very clearly that people were upset about the USA article. Okay? And I can understand why. And, you know, you're right. There's a positivity flow that people are trying to get here in Fall River. And I'm not against that. But I am against living in a non-reality-based world.
Well, you heard how I put it out, right?
Yes, I did.
Right, okay.
I did. And you know, the thing is that the USA report was based solely on governmental data. This wasn't based upon, you know, Mary Jones, who has a lovely remembrance of Fall River when they used to play in the streets and open up the fire hydrants in the summer, and everything was wonderful, and everybody knew everybody, and the doors were open, and, you know, we had a city of, you know, heavy workers in the textile mills and they were producing and we had movie theaters. No, we're talking about what Fall River is today.
Right.
And people got upset because Miami was listed as #1. Miami's a great tourist stop.
Miami was listed, yeah, but by #1 you mean the worst.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and the thing is that, yeah, Miami's a lovely place to visit. I wouldn't want to live there. Chicago's a great place to visit. I've lived outside of Chicago.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to live there either.
Listen, all right, so if I didn't know for sure the order that comes after Fall River. So that's part of what I wanted to get into is the fact that, here's another thing though, because I'm with you on let's be real and understand that Fall River, it should not be near the opposite end of this list, that's for sure.
Exactly.
All right, that's 100% for sure. But I think the people who have a problem with it, it's because they're focused on just the idea of worst. I don't think they understand the context behind it. But also, I was going to say, caller, I don't know. If you want to put your name out there, you can. But I don't think, honestly, even though I'm going to say we belong on this side of the list, I don't know if 5th is correct. I understand the logic behind it. But when you bring up places like Chicago and stuff, are we really considered to be toward 5th? Like, maybe let's up it to 10th, 11th.
You have to look at the criteria. First off, it was cities and towns of 65,000 people or more. So right there, you've taken out a whole list of communities.
Yep.
Then they looked at availability of jobs,
Right.
poverty level, housing, economic development, and the biggest one was attractions.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, when you go to Sandusky, Ohio, you have a huge amusement park. It's a huge attraction. When you go to Boston, when you go to Salem, in Salem, it's all witches. In Boston, you have, the Hancock Tower, you have the Prudential Building, you have USS Constitution. And then you have a mayor who says, we're going to boycott USA Today.
Well,
Yeah,
that's part of what I got into originally. I mean, I think that's insane as well, though, to try to counter this with, pretending none of this has any accuracy to it. But, and I understand that under that criteria, I get if you do it with the math and you break down that criteria and you have categories, that if it matches, if the shoe fits, wear it. So I'm with that. I'm with it. You can't take off the shoe and argue with somebody. It's fine. But, when you talk about a place like Chicago, again, maybe it's just me, but I understand that the violence and I understand the type of crime we have in this city, and at least for now, I don't think it's Chicago level, at least for now. So where would if I had to choose where I'm going to live, to me, there's a little bit of a bigger gap between here and Chicago, but I do understand.
And you know what? If you're looking at each individual item, like crime alone, or attractions alone, or poverty alone, each of these cities and towns that are in the top 10 list of the worst cities to live in will appear different according to where they appear on each individual list or each individual criteria.
Yeah.
But the criteria were combined, and they came up with one study.
Right.
So maybe Chicago's higher in crime, but they have more attractions and they have more jobs.
Right. No, that's why I said I understand
moves us
it.
up a little bit.
I get that point. I don't think many people out there got it. I just I'm not going to sit here and like I just said to you, I'm not going to say we should be trying to say the shoe don't fit. The shoe fits. And when you break it down under the criteria of these different categories, again, it makes sense.
And when you look at things like the Iwo Jima Memorial down at the park, okay, where they stole a Purple Heart medal and they stole the sand out of a vial of sand that was from Iwo Jima.
Yep.
Okay, the Iwo Jima site. You got to say to yourself, and you don't want to be on this list? Okay, regardless of whether you think we belong on it or not, this is one of the things. Look at the brand new Quequechan Rail Trail. It wasn't even open a week, and they already, defaced the entire trail.
This is why I've said, though, before, when people start talking about trying to market the city or do these things that bring in tourist dollars and just tourists in general, when they try to pitch the city, I do not understand how the city is ready to do that yet. It's like...
No, and they're not. Because, the funny part about it is Rob Melian said in the Herald News that we need to develop a sustainable branding campaign. Well, you know what? We had a sustainable branding campaign. It goes back to the 1970s and 80s when the city had signs up and down I-95 to call people in from other states to live in our Fall River public housing.
listen, I've said this to whenever people get into an issue about why do we have these problems going on in the city, it doesn't mean it is, but the conversation always then steers to, well, the level of poverty, and then it steers to, well, how many people from outside of the city, like in the recent years at least, how much of this problem didn't originate in the city, how much of it was brought into the city. But when you say this to people, and the common response is going to be, well, if they don't understand it, you let them understand, and then the response is, well, why aren't our state reps or state representatives doing more? Then you have to explain this is what I've said to you before and I've said to other people. I don't think many people out there get it. It's information that goes over people. So they think, they assume a lot of these things are taken care of for them, and they don't get
Exactly.
They don't understand that these people up there, they get comfortable in their job the same way a lot of people get comfortable in their job. It's just
Exactly. And, the thing is, a UMass professor provided the report to State Representative Carol Fiola, showing that Fall River property owners pay 67% of the city's revenue. It shouldn't be that heavy.
Right.
Okay? And that's because we give all of these 100% tips to businesses to get them here.
Yeah, I was going to get into that in a couple minutes. So I was going to see if anything else you wanted on this subject or any other subject.
No, I just wanted to, I wanted to call in real quick. Hopefully this incites some more phone callers for you.
We'll see what happens, but hey, I
I'll
appreciate
be listening.
Get the foot taken care of, though.
Yeah, take care. Talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Have a great show.
Thanks, bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now, again, most of you probably know who that was, and if not, you've heard his voice plenty of times. Again, I don't usually put callers' names out there. I let them do it, though. I'm not blocking nobody here. If you want to put your name out there, go ahead. But anyway, his point, I agree with. That's kind of where I was going with this, and I'll give credit to him, well, CJ and Chip and Spindle City and different information they've put out. Again, see, a lot of people out there, the information, I understand it's dry. So again, that's why I try to take as much of it as I can and jam-pack, throw that thing at you in a way that maybe you can just, you grab onto a little bit more. Because like I was just saying with him, a lot of the people start talking, well, at the state level, well, why do we have this problem? Let's stop it. They should be stopped. We should stop them from coming in. It's not going to stop, because when you go to the state level, again, if these people have been at their job for so long, some people who were there who had our backs, they're gone. I don't even know for sure. That's what everybody says. There's certain people who had our backs, okay? I understand the Kennedy situation, and I forgot the immediate off the top of my head, and I should know his name, but the other senator who, they're gone, so now that, that assistance is gone. So we have state reps up there, and this is not even me saying anything negatively specifically toward either State Rep Alan Sylvia or Carol Fiola, specifically those two. It's not even a negative comment on them. It's the fact that I don't think more people like them as individuals. Like, I have no problem with either of them as an individual. And Alan, I like Alan sometimes, like having conversations with him. I like having a conversation with him. He can get pretty feisty, okay? I'm a Portuguese guy. You know what happens when you start getting passionate about something? The blood temperature goes up, the face gets a little red, the volume goes up. He has a little bit of that in him. I like that. But I personally don't know how much of that he's using, during these meetings, and how much of an effect it's doing. But again, I want to try to move on. So, but what I wanted to touch on is something that he had brought up, the caller had brought up in that conversation about a plan for Fall River. I got to go through a couple of things quick. And just one thing I wanted to mention that was also mentioned before I have my last show is, if you haven't heard, okay, even though it's been this ongoing conversation for months now, is the continued talk of the possibility of South Coast Rail, bringing trains, okay? We're gonna get the trains flowing down here. And everybody is gonna pick an opinion on this. Either they're for it or against it, and mostly having to do with the transportation to and from places in Boston, and highlighted around work or lack thereof. Now, what do I mean? Meaning, most people are gonna be for or against it based simply on the fact that you're gonna have either people from Boston coming down here for business, people from here going up there for business, or the opposite. People up there who have no business, in other words, no economic prosperity is what I'm saying, coming down here because, as we've done so many times before, we'll cradle that. We'll take as much of that problem in as possible. And then, so you have the people who are against it for that reason. Now, all I'm gonna say to this, and I have about five minutes left in the show, folks, so again, I'm gonna try to get through some of this rapid fire. All I'm gonna say to this is, I want to see a blueprint plan for this, not just let's talk about the economic possibility of transporting things on choo-choo trains, okay? I want to know what kind of train are we talking about, and I mean the specifics, because you know how fast you update your cell phones these days, your smartphones? You know, new iPhone every year. My point is, you go into some of these other countries, go to China, okay, go to Japan and whatnot, and that's just off the top of my head, there's plenty others out there. But you go to these countries where things like public transportation, specifically with the rail system, is literally like light speeds faster than what we're going to be able to come up with or use that we currently have across this country. So what system are we like trying to plan on building down here? Because even if it's, so what, is it going to be modern for our standards? So we're going to dump a bunch of money in to make what's modern for our standards in rail, when like 2 years later, 3 years later, something's coming down the pipeline, down the railroad, that's going to be like 10 times better. That's beyond nuts to me. That's my focus on this. I don't even care about the promises that have gone on about this rail for so long and people still keeping their hopes up. No, all right? I want to know what kind of system we're building, or at least what's the plan. If you show me a plan for a rail system for this whole country, it would be fantastic. But if you show me a plan for a rail system for Massachusetts in general, East Coast, whatever, and it's something that's actually going to take us, like we're in the future world, all right, let's talk. Let's talk serious. Let's all sit at the table and have some conversations. Until then, this is just insane. This is buying, you know, last year's iPhone when there's a new one about to come out. It just doesn't make sense. So that's that whole part. I wanted to talk about that real quick. But another thing that he had mentioned about is talking about this economic prosperity and the economic, the Fall River, I'm going to miss the O for it, but whatever, Organization for Economic Development. I believe I'm butchering that. I believe the O is something different. But point being, these guys who fought so hard to get Amazon here, okay, I don't know if it was, you know, Will Flanagan, Sam Sutter's taking credit for it as well. I think Jazel probably has thrown his 2 cents in on the credit for this. Everybody wanted Amazon here, all right? They did everything they could to get Amazon here, and they gave, you know, tiffs like crazy, all right? We had tiffs going out like crazy, making it rain tiffs. If you don't understand what a TIF is, it's a tax agreement. So what's going to happen is they make an agreement they'll say they'll come here as long as they get some leeway, some tax breaks, some tax incentive, okay? Now, at the time, when everyone's pitching this idea to bring Amazon here, everybody's thinking jobs, right? We're going to get jobs for Fall River people, okay? At the same time, we still hear, well, we're too uneducated here as a whole to work, you know, better jobs, quote unquote. Then you got to pass a drug test, et cetera. Oh, not enough people are going to be able to do that. All these things were put into place. Well, forget all that, because now that, you know, all this development has gone over there, all the building has been put in place, we're going to have it so everyone thought Fall River would have some, I believe a lot of people I know thought Fall River would have a preference when it came to hiring. Fall River has zero preference. Zero, zilch, nada. So if a Fall River guy walks in and another guy or girl, another guy or gal from another city walks in, same credentials, maybe it's just me, I'm kind of biased like that, I do live in Fall River, I would have preferred the person from Fall River get it, even if it was only by, like, say, a 5% increase of chance, all right? Whatever math you want to do for this, break it down, get an algorithm in place, give the Fall River right a 5% chance of actually getting that over someone else, or a bonus, I should say, and then see what happens. But nope, no preference at all. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be the show today. We're going to have to wrap this one up. It went a little quicker than I thought, but you know what? It's fine with me. I apologize again for no Flex Zone award. I probably deserve it. I said I wanted to explain some things that are going on. I'm not going to do it right now. It's too detailed. I'll do it on the Facebook page. So again, make sure you go and like that. www.facebook.com/thenecessarymedia. Make sure to subscribe to YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/thenecessarymedia. That's going to be the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Good night. See you next week.